I have 35 pounds of blueberries, so let's make blueberry ginger pie. Let's get baking. Okay, before I show you how to make the filling, I'm gonna send you to last night's Andy because we need to make the crust first, and these need to rest at least 2 hours. So right here, I have 3 cups of AP flour, 2 tablespoons of white sugar, 2 tablespoons of salt, lemon juice, and in this trusty little cat bowl right here, how cute, I have ice cold water, and I also have a measuring spoon, which is a tablespoon. So in my refrigerator, I have 2 sticks of butter, and I didn't take them out yet because I don't want my environment to warm up the 2 slices of butter because it'll make the pie crust really difficult to work with. But I have 1 stick that's cut into slices of butter, and the second stick is cut into pea-sized little cubes of butter. And if you hear someone or something stirring in the back, it's my dog. Okay, but that's enough talking. Let's get started. So first, you want to add in your flour. Okay, now I'm going to add in my sugar. I'm also going to add in my salt. Here's my butter, which I just grabbed out of the fridge. So first, you want to use your hands to mix in your dry ingredient mixture. Baking is just a happy little mess, you know? Words of wisdom. Maybe I should become like Bob Ross of baking. And now I'm going to add in my pea-sized cubes of butter. And now what you really want to do is you want to squish the butter cubes in your fingers and sort of mash it into the flour. You know what I mean? Just mash it into the flour. And you want to make like different shapes of butter pockets because that'll help with tenderness and flakiness of your pie crust. And it's going to be a little bit difficult to mash the butter into flour, but you know, you gotta be persistent about it. Okay, and now I'm going to add in my slices of butter. Now just mash these in with your fingers as well. Now your whole goal here is to set yourself up for success by creating a shaggy mound as your end product that will become your pie crust. Now a lot of recipes I read recommended me to add apple cider vinegar, white vinegar, and even rice vinegar, which is really weird and sort of like an Asian style pie crust, which I sort of like because, you know, look at me, yellow skin, black hair, but I like lemon juice better because I'm not a huge fan of vinegar. So add in your lemon juice and mix it around. Now you really want to start with 5 tablespoons of ice cold water, and the reason why we're using ice cold water is because cold water will inhibit gluten formation, like how warm water promotes gluten formation, and also because cold water will decreases the chances of us melting the butter that's already in this mixture, which is a good idea. We don't want melted butter here. We want ice cold butter. 5. Oh, that's so cold. And it's always fine if you need more water because different environments mean that different flours have different hydrations. But just don't go overboard with the water. You just want to add enough water so until your pie crust becomes a shaggy mess. Because the less water that you add, the more flaky your pie crust will become. Okay, so at this point, I'm ready to put in my initial ball of pie crust into my plastic wrap, which is why I have it right here. And I'm just going to lay on my countertop and hopefully not make a mess. And like I mentioned before, I still have a lot of residual flour here, which I'm just going to add a little bit more ice cold water in and then make a secondary ball of pie crust. Alright, so put it down and then move your whole pie crust ball into your bowl again because this pie crust recipe actually makes 2 pie crusts. Now split it in half, the best that you can. It's fine if it's not completely even. Okay, now I have 2 identical sizes of pie crust, and now I'm just going to put one down onto my plastic wrap. Now I'm going to shape it into a disc so it's easier for us to roll out into a circular pie crust. Okay, and you want to make sure that you press in the cracked edges in because if you have cracked edges when you initially roll it out, you're going to have bigger problems, which is also called bigger cracked edges. I don't know why I said bigger problems. Okay, welcome back to present day Andy, or not really present because this is in the past by the time we're watching this, but welcome back to Filling Andy, and I'm going to show you how to make the filling. Okay, so first I have about 2 pounds of blueberries. I also have a tablespoon of lemon zest. I have a 1 1/4 cups of white sugar. I have a 1/4 cup and a tablespoon of cornstarch, and I also have a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. Oh, and don't forget, you'll also need a tablespoon of grated ginger. So first step that you want to do is that you want to add your lemon zest into the sugar. So I have my ginger here, which is unpeeled, and I need about a tablespoon. but you can add less or more depending on how pronounced you want the ginger flavor to be. Okay, so I know that I said this in a past video, but the reason why I'm not peeling my ginger when I'm grating it, because I feel that ginger skin is the most nutritional part of the ginger, or so I've heard and read, and I don't want to remove the nutritious part of this dessert because it's dessert, obviously, and it's not really nutritious for people or anybody or anything. I added my lemon zest and ginger in here, and I'm also going to add my 1/4 cup and a tablespoon of cornstarch in here as well. So now I'm doing this on purpose so I can rub in the lemon zest and ginger and the cornstarch with the sugar to release the oils from the lemon zest and ginger. I would rub it in for about 3 minutes to 5 minutes. Oh my god, it smells so good. So what you want to do next is grab your bowl of 2 pounds of blueberries and add in your sugar mixture. Now, you don't have to add it in all at a time. I'm just going to add a little bit in and then mix the sugar mixture with my blueberries, so it's easier to mix. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more in now. And it's fine if you make a mess, you know, baking's all about making a wonderful mess. I'm going to dissolve a pinch of salt in my lemon juice and then add my lemon juice in. Alright, so my lemon juice has dissolved my salt, and I'm going to put in my lemon juice in here first before I add in the remainder of my sugar mixture. You don't have to use your hands to do this. You can use a spatula, that's completely fine, but I like using my hands because I think it's a lot easier. Okay, now we're going to let this macerate for about 15 minutes, and during that time we're going to roll out our pie crust. Alright, it's time to assemble. Alright, before I roll out my pie crust, it's super duper important that I flour my work surface, because if I don't, I can't roll out my crust well, and it'll just become a huge mess, and the whole crust thing will stick on the countertop, and I don't have time to deal with that, nor do I want to deal with that. So it's super, very, very, very important that I flour my work surface. Alright, pie crust, let's flour both sides. Alright, and this is pretty important. If you see big cracks like this, you really want to pinch them together because small cracks become big cracks. Alright, time to roll it out. And remember, it's pretty important to flour the underside of the pie crust as well. Alright, now it's really important that you rolled out your pie crust so I can fit a pie dish, obviously. And if it can't, that's okay. Just roll it out thinner. That's fine. No one's gonna judge you on your pie crust. They should already be super thankful that they're getting pie from you anyways. Alright, now I'm going to grab a bench scraper to scrub it onto my rolling pin, so I can lay it flat and easily onto my baking dish. Okay. Alright, now that your pie crusts are done, you want to take your pie dish out, mix in your blueberries again, so that the sugar syrup coats everything evenly. Alright, now dump in your blueberries. I want to make sure that I pat down the blueberries super well, so the surface is pretty even and flat. Time to add on my final pie crust. Okay, now what I like to do now is trim off the overhang with scissors. Okay, hold on. And when you cut your overhang, you want to make sure that you leave a little bit of excess so that you can tuck it into the bottom, like I'm doing right now. It's fine if your crust looks a little bit messy. I find that uniformity, it can be sort of boring, you know? Now, you want to pleat it with your fingers like that and then push it in. Alright, now most importantly, you want to put in slits into your pie so that it doesn't burst.
Five minutes later.
Alright, my pie is here, and I have some egg wash here. Now I'm just gonna brush it on. Okay, after you're done with your egg wash, it's time to sprinkle on some coarse demerara sugar. Alright, and before you bake your pie, you really want to put it on a baking sheet because if any juices spill over, it'll be a lot easier to clean than if it's just spilled over in your oven. Now your pie is ready to bake. remember that you need to bake your pie at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for at least 70 minutes to 80 minutes. And after your pie is done cooking, remember to let it cool for at least 4 hours, because if you do not let it cool for 4 hours and you cut into it, the pie crust will completely shatter and your filling will not set and it'll just become a huge disaster, a huge mess, and no one really likes a messy pie.